So I was going to make a video today that doesn't really feel like it belongs on my channel, but I'm going to kind of make it anyway and have a little bit of fun with it because it's sort of a strange passion project. Passion project. That's kind of a weird way to put this, but so I have been a longtime fan of the Bond films, and as a musician and just a music lover in general, I really am like a fan of how the Bond movies have these openings with these wonderful like themes at the beginning. And so I thought, you know what, let's like just rank the Bond themes today. And just a couple of things before I start. Even though I am a Bond fan, I'll admit there's like about 4 Bond movies I haven't seen. And they're probably the most controversial ones. So I haven't seen On Her Majesty's Secret Service. I haven't seen either of the Timothy Dalton films. And I haven't seen Quantum of Solace. Now, I will say that On Her Majesty's Secret Service, I was always wary about it since it doesn't have Sean Connery or Roger Moore or anybody. It's got George Lazenby stars in that one. Though it's strange, even though people like to pan that one because Sean Connery's not in it. I've also heard a good deal of positive reaction for it, so it's one on the list that I need to watch. The Timothy Dalton ones, I've heard some redeemable qualities about them too, that they have sort of a serious Bond in them. So they're definitely ones that I kind of want to check out at some point in the future. It's just a matter of making the time for it. And then finally, Quantum of Solace. Well, everybody just says that sucks, and so I skipped it. That one I actually did skip because it sucks. So I think this doesn't look like all the Bond films. I should have checked this beforehand. Great work on that. Might have to scrap this. We'll see. We got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 2, 4, 5. I think that's all of them. I see No Time to Die on here, so that should encapsulate everything that we have in terms of Bond. Now, I've also pulled up a little bit of an aid to the side. We might play a little bit of music, very short snippets here and there, because, well, we need to have something to judge this off of. I've actually listened to all of these recently as well, so we're just going to kind of see how it goes. Now, luckily, I chose this particular tier list. It is a film tier list and not actually the theme tier list, but we're only going off of the main line Bond films. We're not going to do Never Say Never Again. We're not going to do the original Casino Royale, and we're not going to do anything else that's kind of Bond adjacent. No, we're just going to do all the MGM Bonds. Or is it Eon Bonds? I don't remember exactly how they pronounce it. I just remember MGM. When I was a kid, it was MGM over all of these. So, looks like the first one on here is For Your Eyes Only. So, we're going to pull that one up, and we're going to listen to a snippet of For Your Eyes Only real quick. Okay, I probably could have stuck into like the chorus there. What a strange one to just rank at the beginning here. I think this one's solid for sure. Like I said, I remember listening to these all recently just to kind of refresh my memory on them. And some of the Roger Moore ones in general, I think are going to fall a lot in this kind of middle tier of solid theme, because that's pretty much, they all were very solid. They got what they had to do done. They kind of got the point across of the character in the film pretty well, and that's one of the things that I really want to look at, is how well it ties into the films. And for your eyes only is fine. I mean, it does everything it's supposed to, and it sounds nice. It's decent. GoldenEye. This was a classic. I watched this so much when I was a kid. Also played the game a ton. So let's get into that one. We might skip ahead a little bit so we can get to the chorus for this one. Oh, that opening, though. Okay, we're going to skip just ahead a little bit and see if we can get some chorus in here. And then it goes into essentially a nice little part after that. I don't want to play too much. Obviously, I don't want to get any kind of copyright strikes if I can help it on this. And I feel it falls into fair use, but I don't want to have to deal with it if I can't deal with it. So GoldenEye, I have to say, for me personally, no shame listening to it in the car, which I didn't even go over these tier lists, but hey, you can read all of my tiers right here. I think they're pretty self-explanatory. I'm not going to bother getting into it, but definitely no shame listening to that one in the car. I think it's pretty sweet. All right, Living Daylights looks like this is the next one here. Yeah, this is one of those 80s ones. Aha. Just real quick, the one from A View to a Kill, which is Roger Moore, and the Living Daylights here, which was Timothy Dalton. These two, so that's Duran Duran and Aha respectively, and these two are very 80s. And just the disclaimer is I'm a fan of 80s music going into this, so I might have a higher opinion than some people will have, but just bear with me on it. So cheesy. Alright, we'll give it a little look around the 1 minute mark, see if we can get some chorus. Okay, so I think this one's solid. I'm gonna go with solid here for sure. And again, this is one of the films I haven't watched, so I can't rate it as well as far as if it follows the content of the film that well. If it has any kind of call to the content, I don't know. But I do know that despite being very 80s, and I don't think the 80s fits Bond very well, like an 80s sound really fits Bond very well. But that said, I think that they made an attempt to sort of have a Bond style to the music. Specifically, just real quick, I just want to play the opening real quick, just the first few seconds. Like that's very Bond sounding. It's got a very Bond sound to it, even though it's very 80s at the same time. So I think it's solid. I definitely would not listen to that in the car. License to Kill, the other Timothy Dalton one. Again, I haven't seen the movie. I regrettably have not seen the movie. But this theme, oh boy. Now, I'm kind of going out of order. I do want to play something real quick before we get back to that one. Just listen to this. Okay, think of that as a little. Think of that as a little teaser for later, because License to Kill has a little musical reference in it right there at the beginning. All right, so we're gonna skip ahead just a little bit so we can get to some of the singing and everything. My mistake. I still had Goldfinger pulled up. All right. Apologies real quick. I just noticed that this Spotify playlist has multiple versions of some of these songs, and specifically License to Kill. This was not the Gladys Knight version. So we're going to pull up the Gladys Knight version. Apologies again for that. Probably going to hit about 50 seconds on that one too. Yeah, about right there. Okay, this is honestly all-timer for sure. That's why I had to pull up the Gladys Knight version there. It is so good. No shame listening to this in the car, of course, but all-timer. Like this is one that not only do you just casually put it on the car, you say before you put it on, you say, "Hey, you got to listen to this." I'm telling you, it's so good. The callback to Goldfinger there at the beginning just really cements it. And yeah, I have to put it in the top tier. It's so good. And it's very Bond, especially because of the callback with Goldfinger. It's so Bond. It's wonderful. Now, see, Quantum of Solace is next. Again, I didn't see Quantum of Solace, so good. We're getting all the ones I haven't actually seen out of the way, so we can get the ones we have. Quantum of Solace, I do believe that is Another Way to Die by Jack White. If it's not, apologies, but I do believe it's this one. Let's get into some singing. Probably about a minute in. Okay, the opening I think is fairly strong. When I first listened to this one, I was really low on it, to be honest. Kind of pulling it back up again, that opening, I actually dig the opening a lot. But I'm not sure I like the lyrics and the vocals too much. I'm going to back up a little bit in the song, maybe get like some of the first verse. Okay, no, this is actually pretty good. I really did. Initially, when I listened to this, I really did think it was not that great. It didn't impress me. I don't know if it was something maybe later in the song that threw me off or what, but it really, I'm shocked. I'm listening to it again. I'm okay with it. The chorus is not. The chorus is very Jack White, but the rest of it, yeah, has. What's that? Yeah, it's got a good Bond sound to it. It's solid, very solid. I think I'll put that above. Put it above Living Daylights for sure. All right, we got another heavy hitter right here. Live and Let Die. I don't want to go again. I don't want to go too far into a song, but we are gonna skip forward just a tiny bit there. I think maybe about 10 seconds should be enough to get into the good part. You know, originally I was fully expecting to put this into the no shame listening to it in the car tier, but in the moment right now, I'm feeling all timer. Definitely, it's hard to say how good this one is. It did represent such a change in the sound of Bond themes at the time. I think what Diamonds Are Forever was probably the one right before it. Yeah, looks like it if this list is ordered correctly. So Diamonds Are Forever would have been before it, and when we get to that one, you'll kind of hear very soon actually. You'll kind of hear the difference between the two. This was obviously Paul McCartney in Wings, a lot more of a rock feel to it, and that crunch of the distorted guitar in there. But it maintained that Bond feel with the sort of jazz orchestra that comes in and has the burn, burn, that classic like that Bond like chords that pretty much every Bond theme incorporates at some point. But yeah, that is an all-timer for sure. Now let's see. You Only Live Twice. This is finally, we're getting back to the Sean Connery ones. What more do you have to hear of that one? I was originally going to do that one as probably solid, but just turning it back on right there and listening to that opening, it really I forgot about that opening with the strings and it's da 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 da. It's kind of classic in a way. Now, You Only Live Twice it's an all right Bond film. We got a lot of Spectre, a lot of Blofeld in it. It's the it's the kind of bizarre Bond film where Sean Connery sort of fakes his death as Bond and then comes back as in Asian face, which come on. But it's a good theme. Let's go forward a little bit and just hear another little snippet of the song. Probably 50 seconds in would be probably good. Yeah, it's so classy, that Bond sound again with the sort of jazz orchestra there. It's good. All right, so Diamonds Are Forever. This looks like that's next up on the list, and now you can finally hear what I'm talking about. But as far as the difference between going from Diamonds Are Forever to Live and Let Die. All right, and we'll skip forward a little bit to hear, more of a crescendo.
I
Yeah, this is definitely a solid one, and we're gonna put it. I think I like it more than For Your Eyes Only. Yeah, it's it is. It's solid. It's got sort of a '70s pop sound to it, like very early '70s. You could hear a little bit of the kind of wah wah guitar in the back there. Um, again, we've got the strings all throughout. I'm not going to go digging through the song to try to find the quintessential Bond part, where they do those Bond chords, but it's solid. It does what it's supposed to do. I haven't touched a lot on how some of these songs kind of fit the movies they're in, how they fit really the themes and everything, like how Live and Let Die really fits the theme and the feel of the movie. But Diamonds Forever, it really does. It does kind of fit the feel and theme of the movie, since there's a lot of time spent in Vegas, and that is the one in Vegas, isn't it? Yeah, the Blofeld shows up in Vegas, and so it does have kind of a late '60s, early '70s Vegas feel to me. Now, looks like On Her Majesty's Secret Service is the next one. So I want to check something real quick before I get into this one per se, because there's two themes that pop up on this list, and I do believe that one of them is actually an ending credits theme, which I'm not going to count ending credits themes. I'm only going to count opening credits themes. So I just kind of want to double check this. Let me put opening theme. I should have probably done that to begin with. All right, yeah. It's got like its own theme. That's what I thought. Okay, yeah. So John Barry, the composer of so many of the original Bond films and the original Bond theme from Dr. No, when they did On Her Majesty's Secret Service, and this is just me spitballing, I don't want to say that this is in any way, but it seems like to me that they said, okay, we've got a new Bond, new actor playing Bond, so we're going to do a new Bond theme. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, I didn't plan on adding Dr. No's theme to this, because Dr. No starts with the Bond theme. And so I didn't think it would be fair to put the Bond theme in here. Now, I still might. But that's kind of what I was struggling with right here. And so we'll kind of see, because I think this is kind of like supposed to be the Bond theme for George Lazenby. So, I'll kind of let that play in just a second again. Excuse me. But we see here that there's sort of a callback to the original Bond theme in this, with the sound there of the horns that was going burr, 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 almost in that traditional Bond theme progression, but we have different chords, different notes playing here. It's a different key completely. And excuse me, there was also more synth heavy use at the beginning of this. Let's hear when the main melody picks up here. So, I really feel that I'm putting it there. It's going to be our first Might Skip the Opening Credits. It's not bad. It's a cool idea, certainly. You've got a new Bond. Let's give him a new theme. But it's nowhere near as iconic as the original. It's so kind of flat. And, that's part of how people felt about George Lazenby. They felt he was flat. Again, I haven't watched it to say for myself, so I don't want to dig too deep into that aspect of it. But that's the gist I get from the theme. I think it's a cool idea, again, but I don't think it delivered, and I just don't like it. I don't like the sound of it. So I kind of have to put it in the might skip the opening credits. Man with the Golden Gun. I have a soft spot for a lot of these Roger Moores. Hello. I have a soft spot for a lot of these Roger Moore Bond themes. That's what I thought. I thought this started off a little bit differently. So, right off the bat, I think this has a good start to it. Great start to it. We've got the horns. We've got our kind of jazz feel here, with a little bit of that like 70s funk in a way. We got this sick wah guitar just ripping it here as well. It's good stuff. It's honestly, again, I have a soft spot for a lot of these because I watched a lot of the Roger Moore ones as a kid. Skip ahead a little bit. Maybe we can get some lyrics going on. So, yeah, I really can't say anything bad about this one, honestly. I think it's very good. I'm not going to call it one of my favorites or anything. I think when it comes to the middle tier, the solid theme tier, nothing is probably going to go higher than Man with the Golden Gun if it's in the third tier. I don't think there's a solider theme than Man with the Golden Gun. It's just shy of No Shame listening to it in the car. It's too cheesy to listen to in the car. That's really the problem. And that's a Roger Moore problem for sure. Too cheesy. Okay. Next up, huge heavy hitter here. We had a taste of it earlier, but now we're going to listen to the real thing for a little bit here. I mean, let's just go ahead and put it up here. For real. It's going to be one of the top 3, likely. If this, I'm going to order all of these by the end. I think I've kept them in order. Yeah, I think I've kept them in order about the way I want them so far. This is definitely one that's hard to surpass. It's so classic. It is what you think of when you think of a Bond theme, other than the actual Bond theme. You think of Goldfinger. Goldfinger is so ubiquitous with Bond. Every trope that kind of comes from all the other Bond themes pays back to Goldfinger. Everything. I mean, we heard License to Kill, which is a great theme on its own. It pays homage directly to Goldfinger using the same chords. I mean, it's a lovely, wonderful, iconic song. And I think it helps that it's one of the best Bond films ever. And, the whole song is a really good portrait of Goldfinger himself in the film. It really... I mean, it's a little bit cheesy, obviously, but it's a Bond theme. It's going to be cheesy in some way or another. But it reflects Goldfinger's character in the film in neat little ways. It really did its research. It really went that extra step. It's everything you want out of a Bond theme. So, will it be number one at the end? It's hard to say. And just because I've been playing 2 clips out of every song here, every song here, we might as well go forward and kind of play a little bit more of it, other than just kind of stopping right when the lyrics came in. And there you go, you hear that Bond theme. Oh, oh, it's so good. I'm telling you, it is everything you want from a Bond theme. Everything. It's just wonderful. Especially, I pointed out there, especially you get that callback to the original Bond theme as well. It's fantastic. So, Spy Who Loved Me is up next. That's Nobody Does It Better. All right. So this is a weird one, okay? Because I don't really like a ballad style Bond theme. How do I put this? This is kind of sort of that 70s style ballad, and I don't think that really goes with what I want from Bond. I like the strings and the horns. We're gonna go a little bit further. Obviously, I can't remember if there's any strings or horns in this particular song. If there are, hey, that's gonna give it extra points. But just from what I remember, because I remember the opening so well, the piano and Nobody Does It Better, But let's go forward a little bit and see what we hear. Like, I just don't like that it sounds like a Cheers theme. Like, it sounds like a sitcom theme in a way, and I don't like it. I think I definitely put it in the might skip category. Carly Simon, if nobody does it better than that, then we're in for a sad state of affairs. I can't get behind it. Really can't. Now, From Russia with Love, we're going to play that one. We're going to go ahead and get into that one. Okay. Right. That's kind of what I thought. So this particular playlist does not have the From Russia with Love opening theme, which is what I'm looking for. This played in the ending credits, I do believe. That's what was kind of throwing me off. So, just going off of what we heard there for the opening credits, I do like the beginning here. just kind of skipped ahead a little bit to see what we're in store for. You got to think that this is a huge departure from the original theme of Dr. No, because this was the second Bond film, and the original theme with Dr. No, we know how that sounds, but then we hear From Russia with Love, and it's kind of a big departure. And to be honest, yeah, it's a fantastic Bond film. It's one of the best of the Sean Connery Bond films, but I can't see myself putting it any higher than this. It's a skip. And it's not even that bad. It's not even that bad of a theme. It's just, I don't know. It's just not what I want. That sounds a little greedy, maybe a little bit selfish. It's not what I want. But yeah, it's kind of where I'm sitting right here. I don't have much more to say about it. Let's get into Octopussy. Octopussy, all-time high. That's going to be this theme.
All I wanted was a sweet distraction for an hour or two. Had no intention to do the things we've done. Funny how it always goes with love.
This one's not very memorable, I have to say. Because I couldn't place it in my head as I'm sitting there thinking about the title. I'm like, how does that sound?
On an all-time high, we'll take on the world and win. So hold on tight, let the flight begin.
Is this a Bond theme? Like, I don't want to say like ew, like it's awful, but I definitely think it's skippable. It's got the same problem that The Spy Who Loved Me, what is it? Nobody Does It Better has. It's too like daytime TV. It's too like sitcom opening or something. You know, I don't like it. I really don't. I don't think it's so bad to put it in the bottom tier, but it is yuck for sure. You know what? I think I'm gonna put From Russia with Love at the top of this fourth tier. I think that's fair. All right. The World Is Not Enough. This is by the band Garbage. I kind of forgot that. I kind of forgot that they did a Bond theme. How could I forget that? Oh my god, that opening. Jeez, that's good. That's really good. Wow. This did not register in my head at all. Like I did not remember this at like one bit. It's such a forgettable Bond film. Like Pierce Brosnan, he did Goldeneye, which is honestly, I think it's a classic Bond film. It's so awesome. And then I don't care for the other three. I mean, Tomorrow Never Dies, World Is Not Enough, and Die Another Day are so like forgettable. But my god, is this theme started off hard. I'm gonna just play it right from where I stopped it, since we're about to get into the verse, and just listen to a little bit of the verse. So the opening sounds like it could be from just about any era of Bond. The verses do have that like distinct '90s flair to it, and like I know this is not a '90s movie, but Garbage, that's a '90s band, So, but yeah, I don't hate the verses there, but I'm not in love with them considering how the opening went. But let's hopefully the chorus will kind of bring us back there, kind of bring us back to where we want to be. But obviously, you've got to have a little bit more verse to go. Let's get past this.
World is not enough, but it is such a perfect place to start, my love. And if you're strong enough, together we can take the world apart, my love.
Ugh, that chorus. That is amazing. That is like legitimately so good. Yeah, I like it better than Goldeneye. God, just that chorus alone I dig it so much. I can't believe I didn't remember this one. Now, actually listening to the chorus that second time there, I was like, oh yeah, the melody. I've definitely remember that melody. It's such a good melody. The da 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 da. Ah, yeah, that's great. Wow, I just can't believe I forgot that one. So good. All right, Moonraker. So, I didn't realize this until this very moment, but according to the Best of James Bond album, that Shirley Bassey, or Bassey, maybe it's Bassey, apologies for the pronunciation, that she also did Diamonds Are Forever. So that's really interesting, though, because of what I said earlier, how there was such a stark difference between Diamonds Are Forever and Live and Let Die, and that change. But then just a few films later, she does Moonraker for Roger Moore, and we kind of get that same sound that we got from Diamonds Are Forever. Obviously, a little bit later in the 70s there, but it's that same kind of sound with the almost... I don't want to quite call it a ballad because it's got enough like strings and that pop orchestra, that jazz pop orchestra going on here to where it calls back enough to the classic Bond sound. I think we should get a good. I seem to remember the chorus being pretty good.
For someone to have a hold, I've seen your smile in 1,000 dreams, felt your touch, and it always seems you love me.
I wanted to wait for it to get to the end, but I just did not want to risk keeping it going too long. I think it's solid. It's very solid. It escapes the problem that a couple of the other Roger Moore ones had, like the not For Your Eyes Only, All Time High, and Nobody Does It Better. It escapes that problem of it sounding like a sitcom. And I think it's because she did have previous experience working on Bond, that she really knew the sound to kind of nail down for it. So it does a sort of a ballad Bond opening without it sounding out of place. And it kind of has that spacey feel. It feels like something you could listen to that's like floating through space and imagining astronauts and everything like that. I think it's good. I think it's better than definitely think it's better than Living Daylights. I think it's better than For Your Eyes Only. Yeah. I think I'd put it between. I don't think it's as good as Diamonds Are Forever, which is also by her, but I do think it's better than For Your Eyes Only. So yeah, I'm pretty solid on that one. I just saw which one is next. A View to a Kill, Duran Duran. Kind of alluded to this one earlier, so let's get into it. Who am I kidding? Do you guys really need to hear more of this? Like, obviously you do, because the opening's okay. The opening is okay. And I mentioned earlier, I'm kind of a fan of 80s music, in a way. I like that sound, and I'm okay with some Duran Duran, to be honest. And I don't have a problem with this song as a song. Like, if you just told me that Duran Duran had a song called A View to a Kill, I'd be like, hey, that's an alright song. I would maybe even say no shame listening to that in the car. But this is so un-Bond to me. Does not belong as the theme song for a Bond movie. And it's a weird Bond movie, don't get me wrong. This is the one where Christopher Walken stars as the villain, so it's a strange one, to be sure. I can't get into this song as a Bond theme. It's an alright song otherwise, but it is not a good Bond theme, and I have to put it in the lowest tier. Like, again, I think it's an alright song. It's okay on its own, but it is not good in the context of Bond. I can't put it higher than this. And I have to say that. I have to say that I think it's alright. I think it's kind of good. But, like, it's a little bit of a bop, you know? But, as a Bond theme, I really, no thank you. Please, no thank you. Alright, so finally we're getting to some Daniel Craig Bond here. Actually, what am I saying finally? We already did Quantum of Solace. Duh. But here's the first one. This is the first one from Daniel Craig when he did Casino Royale. Chris Cornell, the late great Chris Cornell of Soundgarden fame, did this theme. So let's take a listen. Isn't that awesome? Isn't that just an awesome opening? Let's keep going.
If you take life, do you know what you give? I'll tell you won't like what it is. When the storm arrives, would you be seen with me?
Oh, man. And I mean, you can even tell from the lyrics here how he dug into what's going on. He dug into Bond. I mean, the first line is so, like, that License to Kill idea of Bond. 00 agent. It's really good. Let's skip forward a little bit so we can get to that chorus.
Just next in line on yourself because no one else here will save you. They'll betray you and they will replace you. You can't deny the prize, it may never fulfill you. Get along secure you. Are you willing to die?
Ah, so I can't put it higher than this. I can't put an all-timer for a couple of reasons, and I think that's better to explain than all the reasons I like it, because you can just listen to it and you can hear how good it is and how it does fit, like that the Bond chords are found in it. You get some good horns in it too, but that's part of my problem, is that you don't have enough horns in it. I actually feel like I'd like this more if it was less rock. And I'm a big rock fan. I'm a huge rock fan. I listen to mostly rock and roll music, like hard rock music, prog rock music, metal. I listen to a lot of that. And I've listened to a lot of Soundgarden in the past. You know, I was grunge. Grunge is great. Grunge rock is great. But I need more of that classic traditional for my Bond themes, you know? I think that's why I couldn't put Quantum of Solace higher than Solid, for one thing, is because it didn't have enough of that classic Bond feel to it. A little bit too much Jack White. But yeah, I feel like I need the strings, I need the horns, you know, to really round out the whole package. It's so great, though. I mean, it is so great because it just nails that idea. It nails the character. It nails James Bond as a character, and I love the name of this. You know, the main hook of this, the "You Know My Name." Like, it's so great because when we think of like the Bond films, there's never been like a Bond film that's called James Bond. Never, any of them. None of them are called James Bond. But we all think of them as the Bond movies because we know that character. We know that character, James Bond. James Bond. We know that. And it's so ingrained in it. It was a perfect name for this song. Perfect name for this theme. Especially since it was a reintroduction of the character. So, yeah, I'm really high on it. I definitely would put it top of No Shame listening to it in the car. So, was that Die Another Day? This one's from Madonna. Can I just say real quick that this starts off very promisingly. This starts off very promisingly. But I'm going to go ahead and spoil something real quick.
I'm gonna wake up, yes and no, I'm gonna kiss some part of, I'm gonna keep this secret, I'm gonna close my body now.
No. Just no. No, 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 no. Okay. Full disclosure, I think Madonna's okay. I like 80s Madonna. I've listened to some 80s Madonna. No, 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 Madonna. I don't need you from 2002 or whatever doing your pop garbage theme. Like, Bond does not need pop. We don't need electronic pop. There's no other Bond theme that sounds like this, and it's garbage. Not the band. Ugh. I'm sorry. This is my least favorite Bond theme. Totally. It's. I'm sorry. I know I might sound a little over the top here, but it's so bad. It's so bad. Like, I almost feel like I should have a tier just for this one because it is that bad to me. Like, I don't even think it's very close to A View to a Kill at all. Like, A View to a Kill, again, I think that's actually a good song on its own. But it's a terrible Bond theme. This is not even a good song. And it's a terrible Bond theme. Like, just you know, to hear a little bit further in.
Sigmund Freud. Analyze this, analyze this, analyze this.
Like, we don't need that. We we don't need that in James Bond, please. Please and no thank you. So, now, Okay, next up we got Dr. No, the OG, the first Bond film. And I originally was going to skip ranking this one because it is the Bond theme. It's in every movie. But, hey, it is the first and only time that it gets used in the opening credits. So that's got to account for something. Let's take a listen. I mean, you don't even need to hear the rest of it. I mean, you know the rest of it. We got the da-na, 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 da. You know, we got that. It's short. It's sweet. I mean, that was 20 seconds in. The song's about a minute 45. It's short. It's really short. And there's actually another song that goes along with this in the opening, but I'm not counting that one. I don't remember what it's called. But I'm not counting that one because this is like the first thing you hear in the opening to Dr. No. Now, where should this go? Come on, of course it's going to go in the all-timers. But now here's the tricky thing. I'm not putting it ahead of Goldfinger. And I'm going to tell you why. This is just going to be a difference in the way that people look at things. Is that some people will say the thing that set the standard, that started the trend, whatever you want to call it. They always highly rank that. Like someone will say, okay, well, the Dr. No theme, you can hear all the Bond theme tropes in this. You know, the sound of the horns, maybe the little use of guitar, because there's a lot of them that use guitar. We can hear like all kinds of different guitar undertones for so many different Bond themes. It sets that standard, and it gives us those chords, that key that so many Bond themes pull from and pull those chords into their songs. We get all that, you know. It's mainly that opening chords, like the boom, 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 boom. You know, that little progression of key right there. That's mostly what they all kind of pull into later. But the reason I rank Goldfinger higher is because Goldfinger did all that, perfected it, added some new twists and turns to it. And to be honest, to me, a Bond theme is not a Bond theme without vocals. You gotta have some vocals and lyrics. You gotta be talking about what's going on. And while the original theme is so great, it's so iconic, it was so good that they just pulled it into every other Bond film imaginable. Goldfinger, to me, is the quintessential Bond theme compared to the original theme. Just because it was for its movie, and that's what it's going to be for, you know? The Bond theme from Dr. No, they just put it in every movie, eventually. You know, it just pops up in every movie because it became the James Bond theme. It's his leitmotif, whatever. Whereas Goldfinger, that was specific to Goldfinger. That was for that movie. So I think it ranks a little bit higher because of what it does for itself, for its own movie. We're nearing the end of this list. We got Thunderball next. It's one of those rare, I haven't talked about it a lot, but there aren't many Bond themes that have male voices, male vocals. Because think about it. Think about some of them. Remember, the From Russia with Love did not have the song I played earlier. Did not have that in the opening end. That was the ending. So the first Bond film opening with words, with vocals, was Goldfinger, which was, oh my God, Shirley Bassey. How did I not notice that before? I feel insane. She did three Bond. Damn, she did 3 Bond themes. And she knocked it out of the park with Goldfinger, though. Wow, that's why hers were always solid, at least. Come on. Okay, sorry, sidetrack there. So, Goldfinger would really be the first one with vocals, and that was female. And then Thunderball comes right after that one, male vocals. But then now look what we got next. We got You Only Live Twice, Nancy Sinatra, female. We got Diamonds Forever, Shirley Bassey, female. We got Live and Let Die, Paul McCartney, male. Nobody Does It Better, Carly Simon, female. Moonraker, Shirley Bassey, female. The Man with the Golden Gun, also female vocalist there. For Your Eyes Only, female vocalist. All Time High, female vocalist. A View to a Kill, Duran Duran. This is their first male in a while. And then Living Daylights, Aha, first, another male. License to Kill, that was Gladys Knight, female. Goldeneye, Tina Turner, female. Sheryl Crow, female. Garbage, female. Madonna, female. And then Chris Cornell and Jack White, 2 males in a row. And then we'll have Adele, Sam Smith, and Billie Eilish, female, male, female. So far more female vocalists than male. But yeah, I guess Thunderball would be our first one, the male vocalist. I don't know why I went into that now that I'm kind of thinking about it. It's pointless.
Success. His needs are more, so he gives less.
I think there's a lot of good stuff going on here. I really do. I don't think I'd put it all the way up to No Shame and Listen to It in the Car. I do think I'd put it right there, underneath Man with the Golden Gun. It's got a really good, like, I kind of like that rhythm of the verse there. How it's like the, almost that swaying same rhythm of the James Bond theme, the dun 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 dun, and then at the end of it, it's got the pa-da-da-da-da. That's kind of cool. That's cool stuff. But yeah, it's nothing groundbreaking to me. So I kind of want to put it right there. I kind of hate to rate this one right now. I almost want to rate this one at the end. Okay, so I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna hold off on Skyfall. I'm rate it at the very end. Okay, Tomorrow Never Dies. So that's what we're gonna go to next. Is Tomorrow Never Dies. This is Sheryl Crow. Can I just say real quick, too, that considering, like, other songs that I know by Sheryl Crow, that she would actually, like, kind of nail this opening right here? It's got a very Bond feel to it, and it's shocking. It's kind of surprising that it would be so good. And it's something else I kind of want to mention right here, is that there's not a lot of British artists who have done Bond themes, which is surprising considering how British Bond is. There's not a whole lot at all, like Paul McCartney and Wings jumps out to me. I think Duran Duran's British. I don't know if Aha is, maybe. And I think Sam Smith British? I don't know. Anyway, that just kind of jumped out to me for a second there. Because I was like, man, Sheryl Crow, that's someone that I so think of, like, North America, Oh, well. So, let's hear a little bit more from where we stopped off.
Darling, I'm killed
It's not a bad opening line. Let's move up a little bit so we can maybe hear a chorus. I think it's actually fairly good. It really is. It's got a lot of good stuff going on there. It stays very true to that Bond sound too. We've got like almost that classic guitar sound too, like the original theme kind of guitar sound. And then also notice that we really dug into the Bond chords right there towards the end of the chorus. It's really nice. I have to give it a lot of credit. Do I put it over Man with a Golden Gun? Because I didn't think anything would be above Man with a Golden Gun if it's going to be solid. But I'm almost thinking I would put this one over Man with a Golden Gun. Would I listen to this over Man with a Golden Gun? Yeah, I might. Would probably go to that instead of Man with a Golden Gun. All right. It's kind of weird how we get to the end here with these last few, and they're all the Daniel Craig ones, which is strange. They were not spaced out that well throughout the rest of this. So No Time to Die, that's the most recent one, and let's give that a listen. Just got to pause for a second because, again, I don't want to play too much of a song and get, like, copyrighted here. And this has a particularly long intro. Very soft intro. I will say right off the bat, and I just watched No Time to Die recently. Last month, I think it was. And, I'll kind of give away some of where I'm thinking about this one because I did like this theme. I actually like this theme a lot. But I'm not sure of how I feel about it with a Bond film yet, especially because it starts off so soft, and I don't like that as far as like starting off so soft. That said, for this particular Bond film, it really set a particular tone which fits this film. And I mean, I will say out of the Daniel Craig films, it was the weakest one that I saw. I definitely didn't like it as much as any of the other Craig films. Again, I didn't see Quantum of Solace, but I didn't like it as much as the other ones. There were some things to like about it, but it felt so far removed from the other Daniel Craig Bonds. But I did like this theme, and I'm going to move forward just a little bit to try to see if we can suss out a little bit more from this. I will pick up where we just left off in just a second. I just want to comment a little bit about her voice, because I think her voice is like the perfect kind of voice to have for a Bond film. I really do. I think she has this great voice for a Bond theme. I just wish as a Bond theme it wasn't so subdued. Again, though, considering the Bond film and kind of where it tries to go, this seems fitting. It really does, but I'm so torn. I'm so torn on it because I do like the song. So I'm gonna play just a little bit more and then we'll rank it. It it has a good lyrical content too for the film, and I'm not going to play any more of it, even though I kind of want to because I'd like to have the ending to the chorus played here, but I mean, don't want to run into any copyright issues if I can help it. But I think it's too subdued for me to put it any further than. I'm gonna put it behind Man with the Golden Gun. I like it though. I really do like it. I think it's solid. A lot of what I just said there, I kind of feel the same way about this next one. So we are gonna do Spectre before Skyfall. Okay. I always have to pause these real quick when they have like a killer intro that really feels very Bond. It's killer intro that feels very Bond.
I've been here before, but always hit the floor. I've spent a lifetime running, and I always get away.
So again, this one's very subdued as well. Now, I feel like this one actually picks up a lot more than Billie Eilish's does, and I really think I'm going to rank it higher, to be honest. Even though I kind of don't want to, as weird as that sounds. I have some other reasons for this, and I'm actually going to play a bonus track, so to speak, a little bit of a bonus track to go along with this particular one. We're going to skip ahead just a little bit to get the chorus, because there was something I wanted to get to in the chorus of this one.
I never shoot to miss.
Skip forward just a little bit more, because I do want to get to that chorus.
This is something I gotta say. If I risk it all, could you break my fall? How do I live? How do I breathe? When you're not here, I'm suffocating. I wanna feel love run through my blood. Tell me, is this where I give it all up?
So, the reason I wanted to play that particular part of the chorus right there, that kind of part where it comes down and he's just doing that very almost falsetto kind of section right there. It does falsetto, right? I'm very high falsetto. I think so. So he's doing that section there at the end. The melody for that, I'm almost certain that Billie Eilish snags that melody for part of her chorus in No Time to Die. I said I wasn't going to go back to hers, but I do want to go back and see if I can find this particular section. It's in her chorus. Skip it forward just a little bit. Okay, yeah, that's the part I was trying to think of. It kind of has that same sort of feel, that rhythmic, not really the melody. I will say that. Listening back, it's not the melody. It's the kind of rhythm of it. That da 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 da. You know, that's kind of what I was thinking. I thought it was strange that she kind of, I don't want to say lifted it because it's not that similar, but that she kind of went with that. So even though I thought Man with a Golden Gun would be the top of the solid themes, there's two that beat it out, and I will give Spectre the edge over Sheryl Crow there. Well, no, I think I did like the Sheryl Crow one a little bit more, but I'll give it the edge over Man with the Golden Gun. So now we get to the end. I saved Skyfall to the end because I'm going to say straight off that sorry, I stopped dead there because there was one more thing I wanted to talk about with Spectre, which I think bears noting, and I haven't talked about any of these other... okay, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. I haven't talked about any unused Bond themes throughout this entire time. I've stuck to what's been used, but I did want to mention briefly here, because I heard it recently, within the past 6 months, I'd say. Radiohead did a song for Spectre, and I was kind of, honestly, I was kind of blown away when I heard it. I'm going to play a little bit of it here. So, even though I talked about that I'm not sure if I like the subdued Bond themes, I actually really liked this because even though it's subdued, we can hear the strings and the horns in the background playing behind the piano. Those things are in our mind. They're in our ear. We can notice that they're there. And so it helps me appreciate the subdued nature of it more in terms of it being a Bond theme. Just I'm going to play a little bit more, and then I'm going to kind of skip forward some. So, what I want to talk about there is just how the rest of the band comes in at that point. So we have a couple of bars in the verse that are mainly just piano and what was his name? Tom York? Was that it? And just Tom York's voice, vocals, and then suddenly you get the drums, and the rest of the strings kind of flow forward in your ears. And so I like it because even though it's subdued, it's still bringing a full band into it. It's still bringing all this instrumentation and not just relying on soft, subtle piano. And when we kind of pull forward a little bit, this one I'm actually pulling all the way to the end because there's a very neat section at the end. And so we can hear there in that outro our Bond chords coming up with the strings. It's a really good theme. They passed on it because they thought it was too dark, apparently, which, I mean, I guess Radiohead, go figure. But I think it's better than Sam Smith. I would have much preferred this to be in the opening of Spectre. I dare say, I don't think I would have put it quite an all-timer because... I don't know. I can't subjectively or objectively say why I wouldn't put it all the way at all timer, but I would probably put it at the top of No Shame to listening to it in the car, because it's very good. And when I heard it again, I was blown away by the track. I was just shocked. It's so good. Anyway, so we got to do Skyfall now. We got Skyfall at the very end. And I mean, I don't know, should I just spill the beans right now, or should I just play it? I'm just going to play it, then I'm going to talk afterwards. Okay, I do feel it's bearing mention that I stop it right here. Great opening, and then we went to the subdued piano. Now, you know how I feel about the subdued piano. I don't want to talk too more about it, because I do want to play a little bit more of this verse and then get into the chorus. Okay, I feel I can pause here and mention a little bit more. So we do have the subdued piano, but like the song we just played, that extra song that was passed over from Spectre by Radiohead, we have the subdued piano for a little bit, but then we kind of start to pull the rest of the band in here. And what that does is that it gives us that little quiet moment, which is actually pretty good. And this is why I feel like they did it with the next two Bond themes after this. And this is part of why I wanted to talk about Skyfall last, is because it's almost like after Skyfall, they wanted their Bond themes to sound like Skyfall. So Writings on the Wall from Spectre kind of has a Skyfall theme sound to it, because we have so much subtle subdued piano parts. And I'm going to keep using subtle subdued, I'm sorry. And then No Time to Die is almost just literally just Billie Eilish on a piano. There's like hardly any other instrumentation. And I think it's because Skyfall. Why Skyfall? Well, let's go just a little bit further and we'll talk about why. I think it's important to stop right here before we get to the chorus and just touch on a couple more small things. So, Skyfall, why I think that they went in this direction with the theme is they wanted to have a serious feeling to Skyfall. And I think Skyfall is one of the most serious Bonds that's around. And you know, full disclosure, this is my favorite Bond film. This is part of the reason I wanted to save it to the end. Is I think it's a phenomenal Bond film. I really love everything about it. Just yeah, it's shot wonderfully. Like, good God, it's shot so well. I think it's the same director as American Beauty, so go figure as to why it's probably shot so well. And the characterization of Bond in it is something I don't even feel like we got out of Casino Royale. You know, I feel like this was a totally new step forward for the character. And it's just full spoilers. I mean, is this a 10-year-old movie this year? This came out in 2012, didn't it? Good God. So, spoilers for a 10-year-old film here. When M dies at the end of the film, it felt like that was the point when this quiet, kind of subdued theme that's not totally subdued, as we're about to hear during the chorus. The chorus is very much not subdued. But this theme that has that quiet, that introspective, personal, very feeling to it. We get that finally when the end of the film comes and M dies. We realize why there was so much gravity to the theme. So let's play the chorus. Okay, I had to let that play just a little bit more so you could hear that Bond theme playing right there at the end. So, we're going to go ahead and rank it. This has done as much for modern Bond themes, because I guarantee you that whatever the next Bond movie is, even though it's going to have a different Bond in it, I guarantee you there's going to be some callback to Skyfall in some way. Maybe the tone, maybe it's going to have that little like subdued piano, quiet, personal piano piece kind of in the verses, like Skyfall. Maybe, I don't know what exactly, but this theme feels like it set a new standard for Bond themes. I love it so much. So much. Like when I first heard it, I'm sitting in the movie theater and I'm hearing this theme, I was just blown away. I was like, oh my god, this totally gives me the tone. This gives me the full tone, the full idea of where we're going in this film. And I felt like it paid off. And that's what makes a really good Bond film, is that you get the tone from the theme and it pays off in the movie. Goldfinger does this. You get this tone of this bad guy, this villain, Goldfinger, and it pays off in the film. He's like one of the best Bond villains. It's great. It's fantastic. And I can't gush over it enough. I wish I could put it at number 1, but I cannot, under good conscience, say that it's better than Goldfinger. I can't. But man, it is definitely an all-timer, I think. Yeah, all-timer for sure. Well, hey, that does it for the Bond-themed tier list here. If I was to make a movie tier list, honestly, it'd be very similar, I think, in some ways. Because I'm still a big fan of the classics like Goldfinger and Dr. No. I think they'd be very high up. Skyfall would obviously be number 1. I'd rank Casino Royale a little bit higher. I haven't seen License to Kill, like I said, but it has amazing themes, so I couldn't not rank it. I'd probably put, again, this is if I'm making film choices here, I'd probably put The World Is Not Enough a little bit further down because I don't really care for it. I'd probably put Diamonds Are Forever a little bit further up. I'd probably swap that with You Only Live Twice. I do like Diamonds Are Forever better. I think some people don't feel the same way. I know You Only Live Twice kind of gets some love because it's very Blofeld heavy villain movie. It's really like the first time that Blofeld was a villain, I think, because Goldfinger is a part of Spectre, but you don't see Blofeld really in the movie. In Thunderball, I forget the villain in Thunderball, but he's like a lieutenant of Blofeld. And then You Only Live Twice, you really get like the Blofeld confrontation and everything. And then Diamonds Are Forever is like Blofeld was supposedly dead, but now he pulled a You Only Live Twice, and he's back and a completely different person too. But I don't know. But this isn't a movie ranking, so I'm not going to keep going forward there. Just kind of some ones that I noticed right off the top of my head that I would probably swap around if I was ranking the movies. But that's how I feel about the themes, honestly. I had a lot of fun doing this. I hope it's not an absolute trash video when I look back at it. And again, I don't know if there's going to be much editing done here. Maybe I'll get around to it, but I don't really have the time to kind of put forward to editing something of this magnitude anymore. I just wanted to rank some stuff, so hey, we ranked some stuff, and I hope that it was an enjoyable experience, and I hope you get something out of it. Maybe you'll go out and listen to some Bond themes. Who knows? Anyway, thanks everybody. Until the next one. Bye.